Hi, just give us another minute. I'm waiting for some people to finish jumping on. All right, we'll go ahead and get started. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us today for our very first Shiji Buzz event. My name is Shannon Lippy, and I'm a Senior Marketing Manager here at Shiji, and I'm going to be your host today. We have a great discussion panel planned with three hospitality industry experts, Jay Sherman, Shlomit Kugler, and Michael Bowser. Jay, Shlomit, and Michael will be sharing their thoughts on mobile payment and POS technology trends. So we hope that you're able to gather some good ideas and concepts to take back to your business. I'd like to start by having the panelists introduce themselves. Michael, can you start us off?
Sure. Thanks, Shannon, for doing that. My name is Michael. I'm the Vice President, Shiji Payment Solutions, based out of our German office. I'm with Shiji now for 2 years, part of the acquisition of TouchSpeak Software end of 2018. And before that, I've been working in financial services and payment gateway companies for the last 15 years, with a focus on international payments, specifically around hospitality and retail.
Great, and Jay?
Hi, my name is Jay Sherman, and I've been with Shiji for a little over 3 years now. I've been in the hospitality industry for about 20 years, 15 of which has been in hospitality technology. Originally from the US, about 7 years in Singapore, and a little over 3 years in Germany as well.
Thank you. And Shlomit?
Hi, MyCheck founder and CEO for the last 10 years, joined Shiji when they acquired MyCheck a year and a half ago, focusing mainly on digital experience for hotels and restaurants.
Awesome, thank you. So the digitization of payments is one of the most visible changes that the global payments industry has undergone in recent years. According to a report by Statista, roughly 440 million users used mobile payment in 2018, but the global number of mobile contactless payment users has grown to 760 million this year alone. So obviously you guys have been in the industry for a while. Have you seen dramatic changes in the last 6 months? Jay, let's start with you.
Yeah, absolutely. You're right. There has been a lot of dramatic changes, especially in the last 6 months with the global pandemic happening. Living here in Germany, especially here in Bavaria, where traditionally it has been cash payments, more traditional types of payments, it's very stunning to see that just nowadays, now I can go and buy a cup of coffee and there's signs saying, please use contactless payment, please use electronic payments, something like that. So very quickly, there's been a big push to electronic and contactless payments by everyone.
And I think what you can also see is because of the pandemic, there are many operational changes in hospitality, online and mobile ordering, takeout, delivery services. And they've all increased really the push for online payments, for contactless payments, even for smaller amounts, as Jay pointed out. And I think that has basically changed the way that people look at hospitality in general, and also the adoption of new solutions was much quicker in 2020.
Yeah, just to add to that, I think that mobile payments is one aspect, but really what people are adopting more and more is a digital experience and a touchless one, which ends with payments, but there are a variety of experiences that we see getting a lot of traction, as Michael said, online ordering, pickup, check-in, check-out, all those different things that end up in payments, but are much wider than that.
So what are the key requirements for payments in F&B at the moment, and how have these changed over the last 6 to 12 months?
I think payments need to fit into the way F&B specifically operates. What has changed in the last couple of months is how goods are sold and how F&B outlet operate. And from an online mobile ordering to takeout, payments just need to fit in seamlessly. And it's not the key focus, but it just needs to fit in. And when payments is there, it will help the F&B outlets to sell more products and services. That really is one of the key requirements in my point of view.
Yeah, Michael's right. It's always been important that the technology fits that style of a restaurant. Just because there is a new payment technology or something, you don't have to change the way your restaurant is. And in the past, you know, a small food cart may not take electronic payments, or maybe a very high-end restaurant may not, you know, take tap and pay and contactless in their operations. Now, as things are changing, especially the move towards contactless and a lack of removing that touch, you're even starting to see complete changes to their operations. Now you're seeing Michelin-starred restaurants that are looking at not just how they change their payments, but even offering takeaway or delivery, because they have to stay in business and restaurants are closing. So their experience is changing, not just the technology around them.
I think just to add to that, you need to look at two factors. One is that we're moving from nice to have to must have when we're around mobile payments and digital experiences in general, but also because it becomes a massive part of the business, the integrated solution is also super important. So if you're looking at what are the requirements, if I used to have 10% of my business going through online ordering, then it's fine to take emails or fax and put it in the POS. But if it's 90% of my business, I need it to be, as Jay said, integrated, part of the day-to-day, part of the business. Otherwise, it just won't work.
So what would you guys say are the key requirements from a consumer perspective, just to follow up on that last question?
I think from the consumer perspective, very similar to what the business is looking for as well, it needs to be easy to understand and use. It has to fit their lifestyle, depending on what that version of lifestyle is, and they have to look at it as being safe as well. For a lot of people, payments can be a very sensitive topic. You know, people are concerned about it's their money or what's happening. Things are changing quickly. So it has to be easy to use. It has to be something they're comfortable with. And because of that, I think businesses need to accept a variety of different payments. It can't simply be, all right, we want the latest and greatest. You know, I hear Apple has, contactless payment, let's take that, but I'm not going to take traditional credit cards. No, there are still people who want to use a traditional insert your card type of credit card, or even people who still want to use cash. So it has to be that wide variety of payments accepted, even foreign types of payment solutions like Alipay or WeChat, something like that.
I just want to add to Jay, the most important thing in my opinion, and as we look at millennials and all those new type of customers, they want to have the choice. So if we want to offer mobile payments, we need to give them the choice to use whatever alternative payment methods they want, the different aspects of it. Every region, every country has its own. And the majority would still want to use credit cards. We need to give them whatever they are looking for, and not try to dictate what we want them to adopt.
Yeah, I think from a consumer perspective, the key is that they want to buy products, they want to buy food, they want to buy services. Payments just, it's at the end of it, it needs to be there. I think if you flip it around from a merchant perspective, because the way it has changed how they sell their goods and the services in a hotel and restaurant, the positioning has changed, provide takeout and delivery services. You just need to make payments work very seamlessly with that. And that gets us into contactless payments and even touchless payments. And probably on the topic of touchless payments, it's a good point to talk about Shiji MobilePay and how that fits into the overall solution offering. Thanks, Shannon, for sharing that. I think if we move to the general overview, what Shiji is launching this month is our first touchless payment solution. And what it really does, it allows the guests to pay for a table or pay for a check with their own personal mobile device. So what we do, and that's very specific to our Infrasys restaurant system, we print a QR code on the restaurant receipt. Then this receipt is taken to the guest. And when scanning the receipt, it opens a browser-based user interface where the guest can then go through the process of reviewing the check, adding a tip, making a payment, and leaving even feedback to the restaurant once done with it. If we go to the more detailed workflow of how Shiji MobilePay actually operates, then what we'll see is that it starts with you as a guest getting the check with a QR code printed on it, and then you start scanning it with your own mobile device. It then takes you to a summary screen once it has pulled the information out of the Infosys restaurant system. It'll display on your mobile phone a summary screen of your basically the check details that are specific to your table. And once you have these check details on your mobile phone and review them, this is when Shiji MobilePay basically takes over. It takes you to a couple of follow-on screens. One is where you can add a tip, either a pre-configured percentage tip, or you enter an amount. You enter your email address for getting the receipt at the end of the payment process. And then you go basically into the initiation of the payment process, where you can choose between paying by card or charging it to the room if you're in a restaurant that's in a hotel. And once you press on card payment, this is when basically a secure screen will pop up where you either enter your credit card details with CVV and expiry date, or depending on the acquiring bank, you look at alternative payment methods like PayPal or Alipay, WeChat Pay. All of this happens on that payment screen. The user goes through that screen, makes a payment, and then at the end of the day, you have a summary screen that comes up. The payment is completed, and the information is automatically posted back into the restaurant system to close the check. Some features and functionalities of Shiji MobilePay, and here it's important to look at what it does but also what it doesn't do. I mean, the key benefit here, it's not, you don't need to download an app. It's a browser-based user interface. When you look then at the pandemic, you have no pens, no signatures, no physical cards. You can avoid physical receipts. Social distancing is a big topic, which you can obviously maintain with that solution as well. But also from a security perspective, it's a secure payment. It's a touchless payment because it's fully driven by the consumer on the mobile phone. You can do room charge if applicable in a hotel. And it's exclusively available and fully integrated with our Shiji Group Infosys restaurant system. And then depending on the markets and the regions where you are, it has a wide range of payment methods, from your standard credit cards to alternative payment methods, but also to some of the more specific e-commerce payment methods. Some additional features and functionalities, and this goes to the user experience. What we have built here is very customizable. So we can basically put the customization into the hands of our customers. You can customize functionality like tips to enable them, to disable them. You change the color scheme that fits with your branding, icons, fonts, brand logo. All of that is configurable, and all of this is configurable by you as our customers. So you don't have to come to Shiji to customize it. We'll give you the tools to do this. Dynamic multi-language support. This is obviously also very important depending on where you are. The language of the user interface is defined by your device settings. So if I, being in Germany, have my device set on German as a language, I will see the UI in German. But we also support a wide range of other languages, as you see here on the screen, and we'll be adding more and more languages as we go into the next year with 2021. Which brings us to the availability and the roadmap of what we are doing with Shiji MobilePay. It is available with Infosys Cloud POS today. And if we look at some of the features that will come up in 2021, One is a more deeper integration with our review engine for an interaction between the consumer and the merchant, review capabilities, feedbacks. So just that we facilitate that interaction. Then we're taking it a step further into mobile ordering, because Shiji MobilePay today is very much around a payment tool for F&B outlets using Infosys, but we'll integrate Infosys mobile ordering so that we close the loop from mobile ordering all the way through to payments. And then the third functionality is split payments, where we will allow consumers to split and share the check with friends and family directly through iMessage or WhatsApp, so that you can basically split a table into 2 checks, and you can do all of this through the user interface that we are providing. And that's a quick summary, basically, that what we do with Shiji MobilePay. Thank you, Shannon.
Great, thank you, Michael. That was a great presentation. I think you gave everybody a lot to think about. Would you say that is the focus now more on the mobile ordering aspect, or is the driver here really to simplify payments through mobile and contactless methods?
I think here the point is the driver for F&B is to sell, right? It's to sell goods, to sell services. Payments are a part of it. Payments need to fit in, and you got to make it contactless and touchless, specifically during the pandemic now, but also it will stay. I mean, even when we move into 2021, it will stay. But I think the key here is the mobile ordering is where it all starts, and the key is a full integration into the restaurant system. So it needs to fully integrate into the sales and ordering process and into the workflow, and then payments needs to be a part of that.
Yeah, and I agree that the driver for the F&B operations is obviously to sell, to stay in business and keep selling. I think the focus for us as hospitality technology vendors, though, needs to be using this cultural shift and this time of change to help prepare our customers for the future. So they come to us going, the world's falling apart, I need a contactless payment solution. We need to be ready to say to them, here's the contactless payment solution, but we've built our solution with open APIs, open connections. We're always looking at what's coming next. So they're going to be future-proofed. We're not necessarily solving their problem today, but we're laying the groundwork for everything that's coming next. So they're ready for that. So that way they know we're there for them.
And are there significant differences in requirements from an F&B outlet that is part of a hotel operation versus a standalone restaurant location?
From a payment perspective, no. I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's just that the hotel has a different mix of consumers. You can have walk-ins, you can have guests that stay there. But from a payments perspective, there is not much difference, except enabling room charge, as we just saw with Shiji MobilePay, is something that you do for F&B outlets and hotel, but that's probably the key difference.
I think if we want to add to that, sorry, Jay, is the aspect of loyalty and membership programs within hotel chains. If we talked about the fact that everyone wants to sell more, then rewarding recurring customers and having benefits to push them into the F&B venues is much more aggressive in hotel chains. So although it's not classic payments, but we need to see paying with points or getting discounts as a type of payment and address that as well as room charge. And I think that's a very strong point that differentiates hotels, F&B in hotels, in comparison to F&B standalones.
So has the market for F&B POS changed in the last 1 to 3 years? It seems like cloud solutions are more prevalent in the hospitality technology market nowadays. Would you guys agree with that? Is there anything else that you've seen?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, at the root, you know, POS hasn't changed itself. You're taking orders, you're tracking sales, but there has been that move to cloud solutions. I think the big thing happens is, you know, just in the past really 5, 10, but even as much as 25 years, we have seen a lot of changes in technology, just even cultural changes in technology. And it's gotten to the point where we expect our technology to change so quickly that that's where we start looking at the cloud solution. It becomes less about, I don't want to have a server in my restaurant or my hotel. It becomes more about, can I be on the latest technology? And having a cloud solution that gives the always an updated version. You know, with Infosys, we're releasing new versions once a month. So there's always new enhancements and new features that come with that. And that is really where there's been that move to the cloud solution so that they can continue to take advantage of what is happening next. But you are still seeing a lot of reliance on reliable vendors, companies like Shiji that they know are established, that are going to be there. It's not a matter of saying, here's Joe with the latest technology out of his garage. It's looking at someone that they can trust, because a new feature every month can be exciting, but it can also be scary as well. And you want to take that and be ready for it.
What has been the impact on payments with this change?
I think the change you see is that the requirements for payments online, so ordering, mobile ordering, online ordering, and payments offline, so in a restaurant, they're merging together. I mean, before it was a clear separation. Payments online, e-commerce is one thing, payments in a store is something else. But now they're merging, and at the end of the day, you need to have a vendor that caters for all the payments across all channels. So you cannot just go for one that can only do online, but not the other. And this is where it's merging, and this is where it's basically you need to look at the right vendors that can help you in this aspect.
I think just to add to that, I think that if you look at mobile payments more on the alternative payment methods, the classic flow doesn't always work. So when you look at the changes in the point of sale, they need to accommodate flows that are not classic credit card flows. For example, in hospitality specific, card on file is not usually accepted by alternative payment methods. Keeping a tab open. So all those things needs to be accommodated in the new versions or of point of sales.
Right. And looking at consumers, I imagine they have changed their dining behavior in recent months due to COVID-19. I mean, I know personally mine has changed. So how would you say this behavior has changed? And is this impacting the way that an F&B POS needs to operate and function?
Yeah, I think it definitely has changed. I know, as you said, it's changed for you, it's changed for me as well. I personally have never really liked eating takeaway food. I always enjoy eating it in the restaurant and having that experience. And because of that, now with coronavirus and getting a lot more takeaway food, I have a new way of judging a restaurant. Now I look at the restaurant packaging. How well is it? Does the food still stay hot? Is it still, not soggy? That kind of thing. And now that may sound like I'm going completely off topic from point of sale, but the idea is now having the ability to have so many different ways of ordering, and then your packaging and how you deliver that food makes a difference. If an order comes in from a phone call and someone's going to pick it up, that is a regular person carrying a bag down the street. How are you going to put it in the bag? If it's being picked up by some delivery service, they're going to have a heated container or something. It's a different way of getting the food to that person. So having all of these different systems coming into one is great, but there has to be a way to differentiate between what the ordering method is. And some restaurants still are open for dine-in guests. So you have to keep an eye, is this food going on a plate? Is it going in a container? And that kind of connection makes a big difference as well.
And I think the whole change that was enforced here on the industry by the pandemic has really accelerated the adoption of new technologies, new payments globally, and where you had markets where online ordering was very popular before, now suddenly it's a global thing, and you see that the acceleration and the adoption is so much quicker and so much wider.
Just to add a quick comment, I think on what Jay said before about Michelin star restaurants starting to look at online ordering. What it also brought to the table is we used to do like ordering of pizza, fast food, the modifiers or the customization that is required is quite straightforward. When you change the way you order and when you add high-end restaurants into the mix, the ability to give your instructions, allergens, all those preparation preferences are becoming more and more of an issue within the delivery or online ordering platforms.
Great. And my final question for today is, how can a restaurant operation leverage mobile ordering without harming their DNA?
You know, I go ahead, Shlomo. This is your area to speak.
Finally, my area.
Yeah.
No, I'm joking, but really, and I think we had that conversation, Jay and I, about how do you match the DNA of the restaurant instead of matching the solution. So if I'm a Michelin star restaurant, I might want to have a different type of experience, not necessarily a QR on a table, but more seamless experience. And also the look and feel, the branding, the how it interacts with the guests is critical. So you have to look at what you want to bring as a brand, and then find those solutions that can accommodate that, instead of feeling that leveraging digital harms your experience that you want. Because at the end of the day, today they can only do delivery, but you want them to come to the restaurant and dine in a month from now, and also leverage digital experiences. So it has to talk to your brand and your DNA.
And I think an important part to follow up on that, talking about that branding, is that traditionally, it's been, the guests didn't see the point of sale you're using or whatever technology you were using. So if restaurant A was using Shiji Infosys and restaurant B was using Shiji Infosys, for the customer, it didn't make a difference. They didn't see that, they didn't experience it. So when it goes to the mobile ordering, which is now directly in front of the customer, you don't want the customer to start thinking about your competitors when using the mobile ordering. McDonald's was one of the first to come to market with a kiosk. Now, if you see a fast food chain that's using the same kiosk hardware, the first thing you think of when you walk into that KFC or Burger King is, oh, this looks like the McDonald's kiosk. You don't want to have that tied in. So it's the same thing what Shlomo was talking about. You need to bring your personality, your brand, imagery, colors, even simple things like a button that says next. If your restaurant has the right personality for it, it could say on to the next, or some other phrase that matches that experience, so they don't feel like they're just using a generic experience.
Great. I think those were some really good points. Thank you, guys. That was a great discussion. So now I'm going to open it up to our attendees for a Q&A session. So if you have a question, you can send it to us through the chat or the Q&A feature, and I will read them out. Or if you prefer, I'm going to allow you guys to talk. You can also ask your question live. So let me give everybody a minute to get their questions together. So it looks like I do have one in the chat. Michael, this is probably for you. Is Shiji MobilePay, can I purchase this today?
Yeah, Shiji MobilePay today is available in all the regions from North America all the way through to Europe, Middle East, and Asia Pacific. And you can either contact your Shiji sales representative if you have one, or go to our website and contact the Shiji Payment Solutions team, and we can provide more details around that.
Great, thank you. And another one just came in. What should a hotel look for in a mobile solution?
Coming from Lagos.
Well,
I think what's important when you look at a mobile solution from a payment perspective is two things. You need to work with a provider that has experience in hospitality, in payments for hospitality, because it's very different from retail and other industry segments. And the other one is with the move to omni-channel, so online and in-store payments, you have to find a solution that caters for the whole range of payments. So you cannot just isolate it anymore, and it needs to be a seamless solution, and the provider needs to also help to reconcile you across all the different channels. I think this is a key element from a mobile solution perspective for payments.
And I think beyond payments, as far as the mobile solution's concerned, you know, there's hotels, there's restaurants, but there's restaurants in hotels, which puts them in a bit of a unique situation. And I think for the hotel, that's where they have to start looking at first, what is their restaurant brand? Are people ordering from a restaurant and in their minds, they're ordering from the Hyatt or the Intercontinental? Or are they ordering from, you know, Sherman's Bistro that just happens to be in the Marriott? And it might be that they want to do multiple types of ways of ordering, because I may want to order a website through the restaurant, but at the same time, if I'm a hotel guest and they have an existing mobile application, I don't want to necessarily have to have one application to unlock my room and a different application to pay for food in the restaurant or something like that, or to order room service.
You know, adding to that, when you look at mobile for hotels, you need to, you know, keep in mind the different experiences that the guest is having in a hotel. So it's not just F&B, it's not just check-in, check-out. It's usually a variety. There is a mini bar, there is a spa, it could be a casino, there could be different types of experiences. And when you look for a payment provider, and I like to say a digital provider, because payment is one aspect of it, as Jay said, we need to not to accommodate 100%, but try to get the customer to, or the guest to get used to a type of experience that he recognizes when he moves from the different experiences within the hotel.
Awesome. Are there any other questions? Again, you can send them to us through the chat, or if you like, you can unmute yourself and ask it live. All right. It looks like we don't have any further questions, so we can go ahead and wrap it up today. Thank you all for joining us. Again, we hope that you were able to gain some valuable information from this session. We really try to position ourselves as Shiji as a partner to help you with your technology needs and not just a vendor. So we will have our next Shiji Buzz event in February. So we hope to see you again in 2 months. And again, thank you for joining us and have a great rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.